Back in December, both Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy switched into a new TaylorMade Qi4D driver. So I should have seen this coming, but I gotta tell you, after hitting these drivers, I am really surprised. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So for 2026, TaylorMade's newest family of drivers, the Qi4D, has officially dropped, and there are 3 of them. And while they are definitely made for different types of golfers, they share a lot of common technologies and features that I'm gonna tell you about. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so let's start with the name, Qi4D. Now, if you can remember back, we have had the Qi10 family a couple years ago, then last year was Qi35. Qi4D, 4D stands for 4 dimensions of distance. TaylorMade is trying to go back to its roots when it comes to Qi4Ds, which means all about speed. Each one of the 3 drivers in the family is really designed to optimize speed for different types of players. And they went about creating that speed or finding that speed in 4 different areas. The first is going to be an updated carbon fiber face. Now, this is the 5th generation of carbon fiber faces that we've had from TaylorMade. If you remember, we started out with Stealth, then we went to Stealth 2, then we transitioned up then to Qi10, Qi35, and now we get into Qi4D. So according to TaylorMade, this face is manufactured to a much tighter level. They're better at making carbon fiber faces than they were when they first started out in the Stealth driver. And because of that, TaylorMade told me that they can make this face a lot thinner, a lot faster, but still keep it within the boundaries of the rules set by the USGA and the R&A. So is the carbon itself faster? Not really, but because they can make it better, they can get closer to that maximum legal limit, and that is going to help you get more speed, more distance, just because they can make the face better. Now, the second aspect of distance that TaylorMade told me about was the aerodynamic shaping of these drivers. Each one of them is a little bit different, but you'll notice that the crown comes up just a little bit. There's more of a sweeping motion here. All of these different aspects are meant to make the air going around the Qi4D drivers more efficient. It's going to stick to the driver better. And so the drivers are going to be able to go through the air more efficiently. That will lead to greater club head speed for every golfer out there. So you've got a faster face and a club that with the same amount of effort, you can swing quicker. More club head speed should translate to more ball speed. That's going to translate to more distance. Okay, so that's 2 aspects of distance. Now, the third aspect of distance that TaylorMade tried to incorporate into Qi4D actually comes down to the shaft. Now, I highly recommend that you work with a good custom fitter. Get yourself onto a launch monitor and find out what combination of head and shaft is going to work best for you. But we know that a lot of people want the instant gratification of being able to go and walk into a golf shop and come out with a shiny new driver. And so knowing that, TaylorMade looked at over 11 million swings. And they basically were taking a look at different types of swings, different outcomes, and at what shaft those players were fit into based on the characteristics of their swings and how they deliver the club head to the golf ball. And they work with their partner, Mitsubishi, to develop all new ReAx shafts that come standard on the Qi4D driver. And they come in 3 different flavors. And thankfully, they're color-coded in 3 different ways to make it really easy for consumers to understand. Now, the red labeled shafts are for players who tend to get their hands and their wrists involved in the release of the club head. They get handsy, and I used to be a part of this. And these types of shafts are designed with a little bit more kick on the bottom to launch the ball slightly higher. And thankfully, that sort of matches up with a lot of color coding that's going on these days, where shafts that are red tend to send the ball high. If you then go down into the white labeled shaft, this is for players who tend to hold on a little bit through the release. Colin Morikawa is a player, for example, who ends up holding on just a little bit. He doesn't want the ball to go left. He's looking to play a cut. This type of shaft has lower torque, a stiffer tip section. It's going to create a lower, more penetrating ball flight. And then, of course, you're going to get one that's going to be right in the middle, the blue. This is the one that sort of matches up with the way that Rory McIlroy releases. So not especially handsy, doesn't really hold on, has a pretty neutral release of the club head. This was going to be sort of that mid-flight, mid-spin, probably the one that's going to work out best for most players. But again, TaylorMade is really trying to help players, if they are going to buy off the rack, and if they're not going to get custom fit, find a shaft that really can be optimized for the way that they naturally swing the golf club. And that should deliver more consistency with the club head, better strikes, and again, more distance. Okay, now the final aspect of distance in the Qi4D drivers comes down to fitting. And this is why TaylorMade has 3 different Qi4D drivers. So all of these drivers are going to have a very large carbon fiber crown on the top that's going to reduce weight, create a lot of discretionary weight for designers and engineers. And you're also going to notice, of course, we have a massive carbon fiber sole panel. So almost all of the weight has been stripped out of the middle of the head. All of them, of course, are going to have that 60-layer carbon composite face that's going to be right here. All of them are going to have an adjustable hosel mechanism that allows you to increase or decrease the stated loft by up to 2 degrees. What really ends up separating all three of the drivers, the Standard, the Max, and the LS, is going to be how they distribute weight, especially with the movable weights that come in each driver. Now, the Standard Qi4D actually has 4 movable weights, and for those of us who've been around for a while, having 2 weights like that in the background is really reminiscent of the old R7 quad days, the original movable weight drivers from TaylorMade. You've got a pair of 4-gram weights right here behind the speed pocket in the sole, and then you've also got a pair of weights here in the back. These are 6s. So the way that you configure these weights is going to shift around the center of gravity location within the club head itself. So working with a good custom fitter or tinkering around a little bit yourself, if you put more of the heavy weights out to the toe side, that's going to inhibit the way that the golf club releases on the downswing. It's going to probably encourage more of a fade by a shot or something that's going to go off for a right-hander to the right-hand side. If you put more of the heavy weights out into the heel section, you're obviously then going to create a draw. Put the 6s in the back, you're going to be increasing launch angle, increasing spin rate, creating a little bit more stability. Put them in the front, lowering the launch angle, lowering the spin rate, making the Qi4D as fast as it can possibly be. Now, something interesting is that TaylorMade did not make a draw bias version or a draw version of Qi4D. The Standard Qi4D is capable of creating enough draw bias where the company really didn't think it needed to come out with a draw-specific version of Qi4D. So if you're somebody who really battles a slice, again, I highly encourage you to work with a good custom fitter, but this is probably going to be the driver that's going to give you the most slice fighting bias, the most draw bias amongst the 3 heads. Now, if you're somebody who prizes stability even more, you want to make sure that you've effectively got a point and shoot camera. You just want to hit a lot of fairways and go for a straight ball. Qi4D Max might be the version that would be the most interesting to you. Again, carbon fiber crown, carbon fiber sole, the face, we've got the speed pocket, the adjustable hosel, just like we saw on the Standard, but now we're down to 2 weights. You've got a 4-gram weight that comes standard in the front and a massive 13-gram weight that's added into the back. So what that does is that pulls the center of gravity location back and down more than any other driver in the Qi4D family. So you're going to have the most stability, the highest MOI. Now, you might recall that TaylorMade for the last couple of seasons has had what's referred to as a 10K driver, a driver that has a combined MOI above 10,000 grams per centimeter squared. They're not making a 10K claim about the Qi4D Max. TaylorMade told me that this one's more like around 9,700 or 9,800 combined MOI. By dropping it down from below 10,000 and losing really sort of the marketing, if you will, or we've got a 10K driver, they were able to get a little bit more speed out of this without really sacrificing what will end up being meaningful stability, meaningful MOI to most golfers. So TaylorMade's going away from that, but still, this is going to be the most stable TaylorMade Qi4D driver on off-center hits. If you're somebody who struggles to find the center of the sweet spot and you end up hitting more towards the heel and the toe, Qi4D Max will probably be the one that ends up hitting the shots straightest. You'll also probably lose the least amount of ball speed. This one, as far as ball speed retention, is probably going to be the most forgiving club in the Qi4D family. So now going to the other side, we've got the Qi4D LS. This is going to be the version I think that you're going to see out on the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, possibly the LPGA the most, because LS, as you can sort of get into, that's going to stand for low spin. So this is going to be the lowest flying, the lowest spinning. This is going to be the club for players who really have a lot of club head speed and they need that more piercing ball flight because they're going to have so much speed and would naturally create enough spin. This is still going to be a 460cc head. All of the Qi4D drivers are 460cc in volume, but this one is going to be the shortest from front to back. It's going to have that really nice pear shape that a lot of accomplished players really look for. It's also going to have the deepest face, the tallest from the bottom here with the leading edge up to the top line. And it's going to be a little bit more sort of sucked in on the toe section and in the heel. That's going to allow it to create a little bit more ability to shape shots for accomplished golfers. So whereas the Max pushes more of the weight back, you've got a 15-gram weight, a massive weight up here in the front behind that speed pocket slot, and then a 4-gram weight here in the back. So that's going to really press the center of gravity location much more forward. A forward center of gravity location translates to more speed, lower flight, less spin. And for accomplished golfers, that's exactly what they're going to be looking for. So you've got this pear shape, you've got a lot of ball speed, you've got shot shaping ability. You can move that 15-gram weight to the back if you wanted and create a little bit more height, a little bit more spin if you wanted. But make no mistake, the LS is going to be the lowest spinning version, lower spinning and lower flying than the standard, and certainly significantly lower flying and lower spinning than the Max. It's really designed for players who want to shape their shots and they're looking for a much more traditional looking driver in the address position. They just want more speed. Okay, so obviously TaylorMade made all three drivers available to me, and I brought them here to Cabot Citrus Farm, just north of Tampa, Florida. Absolutely gorgeous facility. What surprised me more than anything else is how fast these drivers are. Again, I shouldn't be surprised. Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler immediately put these into play back in December. We saw Scottie using this at the Hero World Challenge. Rory's been using it over in the Middle East at some of the first events that he's been playing. So I don't know why I was surprised by that, but when I had an opportunity to hit these, I ended up increasing my club head speed significantly. Maybe Santa, brought a little bit better shoulder turn for me. Maybe there was something in the stocking that I wasn't realizing, but I was swinging these clubs significantly faster than I typically swing, and I also was able to get a lot more ball speed and distance. So typically I hit the ball in the air around 235 yards and I have a total combined distance around 245. With the standard Qi4D, I was getting ball speeds that were getting up to about 107 or 108. Usually I'm somewhere around 102, so I was getting significantly more ball speed. With the height stayed the same, my combined distance, I was hitting some shots around 260 or 265, which for me is significantly more. I was really, really surprised. The other thing that surprised me is that all three drivers sound and feel exactly the same. When you make contact, whether it is with the standard, the Max, or the LS, the feel in your hands is identical. The sound that you hear is identical. Sometimes when you have different versions of drivers, you end up finding that one maybe sounds a little bit better, or that the feel in, for example, the LS is a little bit more enhanced, and something in the Max, it kind of feels dead. With the Qi4Ds, that was not the case. If you wouldn't be able to feel any kind of meaningful difference at the moment of impact, and I think that that's fantastic. So getting more club head speed, creating more ball speed, the feel was really good, and they all went reasonably straight. The Max definitely was straighter. It created more spin for me, probably too much spin, but I ended up trying all these drivers out, as you'll notice, in the standard loft configurations with the stock shafts. I think that if I worked with a good custom fitter and made sure that I got the right shaft and maybe moved around some of the weights, that I could have gotten even better performance with them. But the performance that I got was actually really, really good. So I don't know why I was surprised, but yeah, the Qi4D family certainly seems to deliver. Okay, so that's just about everything I think you're gonna need to know about the TaylorMade Qi4D driver family. But if you do have some more questions about it, please feel free to drop your questions or your comments in the comment area below. I do try and monitor the comments as best I can and answer people's questions. And it can be a question about drivers, about TaylorMade, anything in general. I want to be a really good resource for you to make sure that we get the best equipment for you in your bag. And if you did get some good information out of this video, if you found it to be entertaining, it'd be super helpful if you would smash that like button as well as subscribe to our channel. It really helps me out tremendously. So thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon.